You reset 4 times.
What?
How are you not ready?
I'm ready now.
Not you. Goggle Bob, I'm gonna go get a drink now.
Due to my extreme commitment to burritos, I walked a mile through 90-degree weather for burrito.
Oh no.
That's a very normal thing to do here and a very weird thing to do there.
A very brazen thing.
Do people walk in Florida?
When I had a job, I used to walk down to the nearby supermarket for lunch all the time, and that was very nice.
Speaking of walking places, danger alert. So I started going to these like town council meetings.
Oh God.
That sounds miserable.
And New Jersey liquor license laws are a little wonky.
I believe you.
I'm really hoping that you're about to say that someone is just selling like ungodly amounts of alcohol directly outside of a town hall meeting.
Yep.
No. There was a business that closed that has a liquor license, and they have like a certain amount of time to sell it. And they have to either sell it to someone in the same town or an adjacent town. So obviously the council wants it to stay in town.
Naturally.
And it turns out that the Mexican restaurant a block and a half from my house is interested in possibly acquiring it.
Cool, I guess. I'm gonna hit start
danger.
now.
I feel like if it left town, I feel like no one would be better about being able to get a liquor license to someone else than the town council. But
Well, it's state rules as opposed to
yeah,
town
I guess
rules.
that's a state rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, if that place gets a liquor license, I'm in trouble. Speaking of gambling,
I would like to state that I'm well aware of, in my own hometown, if a liquor license comes up for grabs, it is, like, basically it turns into, like, a scene from, like, the Super Friends with, like, the villains on one side and the heroes on the other all running at each other. Like just every business owner in town just fighting to the death.
so maybe it's more like the robot toy scene in that Arnold Schwarzenegger Christmas movie.
Turns out it's just the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny.
This is the second time I've heard reference to that in a day, so thank you.
Weird.
Now it's
Normal,
stuck in
very
my
normal.
head again.
Neil
I
Cicero
just
still
hope-
doing good work 20 years later.
I'm gonna work on making a Mr. Rogers sweater now.
Will there be blood on it, or is that coming later?
Well, it's already red, so it's kind of hard to tell.
That's just practical.
Alright, so single note on the game I'm actually playing here really quick. Instead
Never.
of like, New Jersey municipal law or anything like that.
This is what people come here for.
Yeah. The current objective is to go here, basically. There is a way here directly from the hideout, but I didn't do it because I thought, I think I did the thing for the recruitable character. I should just go there and do it. And then halfway through, I realized I hadn't, so I just went the long way. That's all.
Oh well.
Literally the most pointless story ever told. Not even a story.
I'm
Not even
sure
an
there's
antidote.
other-
That's not even the most boring story that someone will tell tonight.
You interrupt the
Someone
New
will be
Jersey
me.
municipal law for this?
Speaking of liquor licenses, no.
Oh, also here is a very obvious reference to another Sega franchise.
Oh, that taxi's looking pretty crazy.
Yeah, that taxi is downright outlandish.
Or they optioned a Crazy Taxi movie.
That would have been... That could have either been the worst movie of all time or the best movie of all time.
See, like, there were people vaguely attached to it.
I am
so-
just imagining a movie like with the fucking Snoop Dogg. We're gonna set this all like in 2002. Snoop Dogg as BD Joe, and Johnny Knoxville as Axel, just doing the most insane car stunts of all time for 90 minutes. Tell me you
I'm
can't.
gonna say, I'm
Tell me
going
you
to
could see it.
say,
Wasn't there a
In
Yeah,
that-
you guys, yeah.
if that movie ever came out, I absolutely would have a different opinion of Snoop Dogg, like, as a person. Like, oh, the
I don't
guy
think
from
he
Crazy
was-
Taxi. would
I don't
be-
think he was ever like actually attached. I just picked two names.
I don't
that
care.
felt
I can
were-
imagine a better
that I felt
world.
mapped to the characters well enough.
There have been 2 attempts, per Wikipedia, there have been 2 attempts to create a movie based on the Crazy Taxi franchise. In 2001, Goodman Rosen Productions acquired the rights for the movie with Richard Donner lined up to direct the film. Donner said that he loved playing Crazy Taxi and thought it had the potential to be a big summer event movie. The movie would have been tied with other merchandising, such as t-shirts and toys, blah, 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 blah. Initial attempt stalled due to an absence of plot elements, according to Movie Insider.
I mean, there
I
is-
feel like someone could have
Don't
figured that...
say.
I mean,
I feel like someone could have figured that out before optioning the film.
I mean, like, Crazy Taxi has no plot. It literally has no plot.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's time to make some crazy money. Here we go.
yeah, like, I suppose you could, like, I cannot come up with an antagonist for Crazy Taxi.
The antagonist is, I need to make some crazy money or some loan sharks will break my legs.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made bigger movies with weaker plot lines.
100%. They're like, the fact that there's no plot elements honestly doesn't mean much. It just means that they didn't find someone that they wanted to attach to a script fast enough before the option expired.
Even Spielberg's Crazy Taxi.
God, I could see it. All right, so this is
Mindfire Entertainment acquired the
another,
rights in 2002.
dumb thing I enjoy. You can go to these taxi stands and catch a ride, right? But you don't actually catch a ride by pushing the button that like appears on the screen there. No, you catch a ride by dancing.
I mean, that's what I would do.
I was just in New York, and I can confirm this is accurate.
Remember the mind-bogglingly impressive but shitty GBA Crazy Taxi Catch a Ride?
Very
Yes.
impressive, absolutely terrible to play.
Incredible object. Nightmarish.
Complete lack
Should
of
not
appropriate
exist.
soundtrack.
Listen, there are like 3 GBA games with licensed soundtracks, and they are all like the most bit crunched version of The Doors ever, and the most bit crunched version of like early aughts rap ever. That's all of them.
Yeah, no Offspring music, not even the MIDI version. Disgraceful.
We're not prepared for bit crunched Offspring.
We weren't.
I mean, I was playing some random licensed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games on the Game Boy Advance recently. And it's funny because obviously in looking at what Game Boy Advance games were released for the Game Boy Advance, there's also like 2 episodes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, because the GBA video thing.
The old, you bought a cartridge and it was 2 episodes or something. And I guess that was cool if you were 8.
Listen, you could have had the combo cartridge of Shrek 2 and Shark Tale.
Wow.
Watching Shark Tale on a Game Boy Advance. This is Will
Goggle
Smith
Bob wasn't
remembered.
cool enough. I'd say I expected better, but I didn't.
Anyway, so to get into the mall, we got to do a bunch of graffiti.
Also,
Good.
my
That
favorite level
tracks.
is raw design.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say when's the last time you've been in a mall lately, but
Like a month ago, it was
Few
real
months
dead.
ago, it was the Dead Mall, so it's my favorite mall.
I don't think that there are non-dead malls at this stage.
There are, and they're actually kind of cool when they exist. But you know, this one was not one of them.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
I mean, a
I
lot of the
keep
malls around here.
drawing. So I did a full playthrough of this game last week, just to shake the dust off, so I knew what I was doing. Remind myself of all the things I want to do, and I kept drawing the same graffiti on all the big ones because for some reason my thumb always goes straight down when given the prompt, and it's my least favorite graffiti. I hate it.
You gotta mod it, replace it. The big skull smoking a blunt.
I'm pretty sure that's in the game. That's in the game already.
Yeah, but you could replace it with another one.
That is true.
Like I didn't think of you as the sort of person who'd be like, "There's already a big skull smoking a blunt in this game. I would not need another one."
Good point. What was I thinking?
Just a little variation.
I am thinking now of the Aquatine joke. If you're gonna plug him in, damn right. What the hell was I thinking?
Yep. Shit. See if I can keep my stupid combo
failed.
going. There we go. I kept the combo going.
Ultra combo. So who do you man in Killer Instinct, Bobathan? You're gonna be the person who has an answer to that.
Okay, so if given the
You
option,
have different Killer Instinct mains. Fuck you.
if given the option, I go with Riptor. But if memory serves, Riptor was dead for Killer Instinct 2.
I wasn't ready for Killer Instinct canon to be involved in
So
that.
I think that I then go with what is her name? Like Kim Woo, I think.
I don't remember, man. I've played maybe 12 minutes of Killer Instinct in my life.
I mean, Kim Woo.
I remember Riptor because it's a big dinosaur. But
Yeah, and technically Riptor was part of New Killer Instinct Season 2, and Kim Woo was Season 3. So during Season 1, I was just trying to find the name. I think
I'm retroactively putting big air quotes around New Killer Instinct.
Yeah, well, it's the newest one, just we haven't seen one in 10 years.
2013.
Yeah. I'm confident saying 10 years, but I think I settled on TJ Combo for Season 1. But
He has combos.
he has combos. And honestly, he felt a lot better in Killer Instinct New than 1 and 2.
I mean, that's like that game feels better than those. It still feels bad, but it feels better than the originals.
You know, I mean, Killer Instinct New, quote unquote, I feel it doesn't get enough credit for. I think it was the first game that really, really started basically how fighting games all work nowadays, with its gradual seasons and what have you. Like, it didn't invent the concept, but I feel like it was the first high-profile one that was doing that well.
It was like we were still at the hangover of the different boxed releases. I kind of missed those.
Yeah, no, and I agree completely. Like, I feel better about owning 3 different versions of Street Fighter 4 than I do about, like, you know, gradually buying my...
I like my big issue and what they could do, like something that they could fix if they ever really had the initiative to, is that it's just frustrating to not be able to play the old versions. Even if they're worse, I want to be able to play the version that's broken in specific weird ways.
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. Like, the fact that there's no alternate version of Street Fighter V in existence right now is kind of amusing.
It sucks that there's no version select, because like Ultra, for all the other problems that version of Street Fighter 4 has, it did have version select where you could like switch to at least a version of a character as they existed in like vanilla or arcade edition or whatever. And for whatever reason, they never did that in SF5. It would have been nice to be able to do like, Season 1 Ryu versus like Season 4 Abigail or whatever.
I mean, I trust, and I use air quotes for this, Capcom to come out with like a Street Fighter V 15th
Hyper Street Fighter 5 Anniversary Edition.
Yeah, that allows you to play
in 2037.
That allows you to play as the Dan that existed with an infinite combo for 5 seconds.
You are allowed to hurt yourself. You are allowed to make your own decisions.
Yes.
Anyway, I will mention the game again for a second. We are now at Millennium Mall. It's one of my favorite places in the game, and the gang that I'm up against for this portion is my favorite gang in the game.
Yeah, I think this is the most, like, just fun to skate around level.
Oh yeah,
It's fun to remember what
like the
malls
second
were
area
about.
especially is just like Combo
Oh,
City.
yeah. Like, yeah, like, it's the most just combo around place.
But also, I just really love the robot b-boys. They're great.
Those sleeves, though.
Which ones? Because everybody in this game has insane sleeves.
The one on your team.
The girl dancing right there.
Yeah.
Also, I think that's
Okay, yeah.
Beerus in a in a very nice suit here on the wall. Fucking awesome.
Slightly more dramatic bags, but other than that, yes, that is a Dragon Ball Z character.
I don't think I've ever seen a mall with this much glass before.
They're like that on opening day, and then it goes away.
Fair enough. Into the creepy robot face.
Yeah, I do love that. Like one of the like dumb world building things is that there are people with robot heads just around. They're very normal people, just normal ass dudes.
Sometimes you just have a robot.
Yeah,
It's rude to ask in the same way that asking about a prosthetic would be rude.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
exactly.
course.
I was gonna say, how is it that much different from like Cyberpunk?
It really isn't.
Cyberfunk.
Yeah.
I haven't played Cyberpunk. I heard it was bad, and then it got less bad, but I don't care.
I
Like the
just
national
fun.
video game of Poland, I can tell you that much. It was
I
like,
meant-
I can just say,
Right.
when I was in a Polish mall, like 2 years after the release, there were still like gigantic signs for it, like, "Oh my God, you can buy this game." Kind
I'm
of the
reminded-
complete opposite of
I'm reminded
America,
more than
where we forget a
anything
game 5 seconds later.
of Warlocracy's pronunciation of CG Project Red.
CD Projekt.
CG Project Red. And probably promoting Russophobia.
Oh god, I'm still in love with that fucking like Russian propaganda game.
It's incredible. The fact that like we have this just like incredibly jaded yet incredibly funny, incredibly Russian man making that content is just so beautiful to me.
It's the only kind of person that could.
The
give
only
that
person
kind
who
of
could do
context.
it, really. There's anyone else it would be inauthentic. I could not talk about video games the way he talks about them. Fuck. Well, I'm wasting a lot of time right now, but this is a chill out
That's
game.
fine. It's video
I am
game.
not
I was gonna say,
trying
time
to go
spent
fast.
with friends is never wasted.
Oh yeah, see, there you go. That's beautiful.
I meant time talking about Street Fighter 5, my bad. I want to play as the version of Urian that only exists in story mode.
Video game relevant commentary. By now, most of you have seen the photos of my collection.
I have.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I have. Where'd you post them?
You have not yet.
I got DM'd them. I assume you will as well.
I will look forward to this DM.
Yeah. I finally unpacked some stuff over 4th of July weekend.
Did you wind up making an Excel sheet of them?
Not yet. I told you I just
I was
downloaded it
immediately
off
made
the
privy to the
yesterday.
fact that your first fucking suggestion was Excel spreadsheet.
It's the
Fucking
best way to
psychopath.
figure it out. It automatically alphabetizes, and you can set your own genres.
I do as a
Criminal.
professional, well, generally professional Excel mangler. I disagree most strenuously.
I mean, personally,
Why
I
would you
have an
mix?
access
Why would
database.
you
I
take
would
something
recommend that
good,
for you.
or like video games, and combine it with something horrible like Excel?
Well, does it count if it's open office?
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah,
kinda.
which like I said, I finally got open office last night, so one thing at a time.
Spreadsheet.
Cal. Um. Yeah, no. So, like, does that mean I'm pretty harmless if that's what I drunk text people?
No,
Look at my video
that's
game.
that is about the least incriminating thing you can drunk text someone about.
Awesome.
Check out my GameCube.
Check out my videos games.
I was so mad. Like, I knew that I had mentioned
GameCube owners in your area.
I had mentioned Chibi Robo enough times that I knew it was missing when I opened the box. It's like, something. Where's all my GameCube shit?
TV Robo is important. It was largely directed by ex-Love Deleak developers.
Oh yeah.
The what? What? X Love the Leak? I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is.
Love Deleak was a company that made a few very strange PS1 and Dreamcast games, most notably Moon Remix RPG Adventure, LOL Lack of Love, and God, what's it's something called UFO. I'm trying to remember what it's called. But they made they were ex-Square developers who had previously worked on things like Super Mario RPG. Okay, yeah, their third game was UFO: A Day in the Life. But they were a weird. They obviously making games like LOL Lack of Love was not going to keep them solvent for long. They exploded very quickly in the early 2000s and turned into like 5 developers. One of which was Chibi Robo developer. I want to say that was developed by like 5 different companies exploded out of this. I want to say it's Skip. Yeah, Chibi Robo was developed by Skip, but maintains a lot of both thematic and mechanical ties to Moon Remix RPG Adventure in particular. But that set of developers ended up finding their way back to, some of those developers ended up finding their way back to making Mario RPGs and proceeded to make the extremely strange Mario RPGs for 3DS, Wii U, and Switch that Mario RPG fans have, sworn a blood oath against.
Oh, the
Well, it depends on the fans. I've seen some people swear
the
that
weird
they're
ones.
Yeah, the really weird ones that are actually interesting instead of remaking Thousand Year Door 60 times.
I thought they only made Thousand Year Door once.
They remade it recently, but I'm more talking about how, structurally the Thousand Year Door is almost exactly the same game as Paper Mario 64. And then you get into, the Mario and Luigi games, and those are all kind of the same game. There's just very little structural variance between any of the Mario RPGs after their first entry. And so, when people are, complaining that, why didn't they just make more of these? And it's because it's boring! It's boring to just make the same game over again! Stop it!
I mean, there are people,
I really
and
like
I will not
Bowser's Inside
fault
Story.
them. I will not fault them, but there are people who just want to see a new Mega Man game every year, and they don't want more than that. Or a new Batman game, I suppose.
How many Metroids are there? How many Batman games did you play?
Superman
Okay, they were
games.
Superman games. Oh my god!
And
Some
those
of
were
them
actually
were.
all
Superman
mechanically
games,
different.
You got the wrong guy.
Those are all distinct games that come from distinct mindsets. Whereas, these Mario RPGs, I played too many of them, expecting that someday one of them would have to feel different, and they didn't. They all feel exactly the same. They feel very like games of obligation. You don't make these if you're having fun.
I don't know, Super Mario Sunshine was very reminiscent of Super Mario 64. I will
Yes.
say that much. That's about as much of a comparison as I can do, though. That is the extent of my experience here.
Yeah, so Paper Mario is a game where Mario tries to fight Bowser, and he loses and has to go find the 7 stars because he needs that, and so he goes all over the Mushroom Kingdom and he recruits a little Goomba friend, and a little Koopa friend, and then a bunch of all the fuck off no-name enemies that you see in every Mario game whose names you don't remember because they're not in all of them, but they're in most of them. And then at the end, you get all of the 7 stars. They're just MacGuffins, and then you fight Bowser, and then the game is over. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Mario goes to a slightly different kingdom that is not the Mushroom Kingdom, but mostly looks like the Mushroom Kingdom, except everyone's wearing a weird hat or a mustache. And you have to collect the 7 stars in order to open a big door, and then at the end you save the mind-controlled Princess Peach from these fuck-off no-name enemies that no one cares about, and on your way you get like a little Goomba friend and a little Koopa friend, and then a bunch of characters that are just all the fuck-off Mario enemies you don't care about because they're not in every game, even though they're in most of them. And structurally, they're kind of exactly the same game. It's honestly, it just is bizarre to me to look at them. It's like, and then they stopped making those games because they made Thousand Year Door, and it fixes some of the stuff that's mechanically kind of limited about Paper Mario, but there's not a lot more to do with that, so they start making games that are weirder, that do different things. And they've never been forgiven for it.
I mean, I will state in Thousand Year Door's defense that I always felt like this was kind of a, call it preemptive version of what we would see on the Wii U and the Switch, wherein they basically made something at the tail end of a system that wasn't necessarily the best place for it, and then they're like, okay, we're kind of getting a do-over. We're going to take what worked, a Goomba Buddy, and then we're going to give it a ponytail.
That somehow took 5 years.
Yeah, well, they were working on other stuff.
Were they? Intelligent Systems?
I don't know, maybe. But
presumably Path of Radiance, but that came out the same year. Can't have been that team.
God, Path of Radiance. But yeah, no, I will state that, I understand completely what you're saying, but for it being, one sequel, and then
I'm not against the existence. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not against the Thousand Year Door. I'm against the people that are just they should have just kept making that over and over and over.
Yes, which I will state, I think speaks to how good Thousand Year Door is.
I've been trying to replay it in that remake, and I just don't get it. I have to come to grips with the fact that I don't get it. I'm trying to enjoy that game, and I don't hate it. I don't feel anything special about it. There's nothing in it that screams to me game that will be lifelong obsession for some people. And I've seen those people, and some of them are even entertaining or have interesting things to say. But when I try to play it, I just get oh, that's kind of cute.
I mean, I'm going to say something that probably, I don't know, going to get me, attacked on the stream, but they were both basically available on my GameCube at the same time. And of the two games, Thousand Year Door was the one that I was like, oh man, this is amazing, I could play this 1,000 times, I'd be happy. And the game that I bounced off of as its alternative was Resident Evil 4.
That is strange to me, but Resident Evil 4 rules.
Resident Evil 4 is such a dynamic video game. I could play that, I could play even just the first 20 minutes 100 times and it would never go the same. And Thousand Year Door is just it's a pretty solvable RPG. I do not feel things from it.
Okay, fanboy, I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm genuinely not trying to be a dick when I say this.
I understand.
I feel like your take on Thousand Year Door might be a little bit reductive, because I could say exactly what you just said about it, about Persona and Kingdom Hearts.
Nah, not really.
I think I could.
Paper Mario is a very simple RPG. It's very simple. There are
I mean,
loadouts you can have. There's not a lot of them.
I can see interpreting
4 million
Persona
combo.
in
Not
that
bad.
way in the beginning if you do look at the game like a Excel spreadsheet that I've seen some people play it like as far as optimizing your time with your characters or whatever. Like I do feel like Persona 3 particularly comes to mind, and I mean original Persona 3, not necessarily the remake or anything, as a game that has an optimal route that I could see getting boring very quickly. Like, this is the way you're supposed to play the beginning of the game. That Resident Evil 4, to be clear, which I eventually got around to liking, ultimately, excuse me, I don't see that. But I could see it with Persona 3. And yes, I could see it with Thousand Year Door.
But yeah, like, just as a general rule, it's just... The other thing is and I have admitted this many times, I don't think the writing's that funny, and, like, that has to carry so much of that game. Because, like, there's no dramatic... Like, it's dramatically inert. It's a Mario game. Like...
Not everybody wants an intense storyline.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that... I'm saying that if you're going to... If you're going to be an RPG that talks that goddamn much, you've got to at least be funnier than it is.
And I will say that I think that's a big factor in the fact that a lot of people name their most memorable moments as the times when you're playing as Peach. Which those
are the parts where the game is doing the most interesting things.
And also, of the time, playing as Peach was like a completely unheard of thing. Other than in, like, Mario Kart.
True story.
Like, the fact that she has an internal monologue is like, oh my god, she's actually has a personality.
She has a voice.
Exactly. Now here's the question: how do you feel about Super Paper Mario?
An interesting but failed experiment. I mostly think that it runs into this issue of it's a really cool idea, but the platforming's not enough, and the RPG isn't enough. Like it feels like that needed a sequel.
Yeah, sure, I'll give you that
To
one.
draw out what was interesting in the concept. But what they produced is, like, kind of a letdown.
I'm trying to get all the robots in one combo, but I always forget where the last ones are, so we might be here a minute.
It's okay.
Not that, like, you know, not that, like, I'm
Where else
trying,
are we
not
going?
that, like, this is a stream where I'm going to try super hard. Just as a general disclaimer there.
Always forget where the last one. Also, what is the name of this character you're playing as? 'Cause
Belle.
for obvious reasons. What was it?
She's Belle, and basically
Belle.
she is Gum from Jet Set Radio if the label.
I was about to say, for obvious reasons, I just want to say dumb.
Yeah, no, just because it's who she is. None of the characters... So, like, here's a thing I want to comment on about this game. None of the characters in this game are, like, super deep. That's not a bad thing. The characters in Jet Set Radio aren't super deep either. They're mostly just like, hey, pick the one you like, pick the one you think looks coolest. Not a bad, like, way to design a video game. But I do kind of like that the few interactions she does get are all very funny. There's this one moment later in the game where Trice, the leader, gets asked by some guy, hey, can I join up? And Trice just immediately goes, no. And she, without even, like, considering him, just goes, sure. And then he's in.
That's where you find out what real leadership is.
Yeah.
But yeah, my Paper Mario complaints are rude, they're exaggerated, but mostly they stem from the same thing that causes me to get pissed off at a lot of remakes, which is to say, you fuckers just want the same thing over and over again, and you bore me!
I cannot remember where the last two are to save my life. Where the fuck are they?
I mean, it's kind of like why I enjoy Super Paper Mario in its time, because at the time 2D Marios were like few and far between.
Fanboy, the question
it's definitely
I have
Go on.
regarding sorry, I'll let Gogglebob finish first.
no. I was just going to say that like I gave it a lot of slack for what is ultimately a like half of an idea of a game, so to speak, simply because again at the time I can't think of that many Wii games that were like 2D platformers that I played with that little Wii controller. It require waggling.
All that wiggle and waggle. Fanboy, the question I have is, what do you think of what is, in my opinion, the good Mario RPGs, the Mario and Luigi series?
I think the first one is great.
Okay.
I think the second one is dreadful.
Agreed.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you that. Oh, there
I
it
have
is.
heard-
Found you, fucker.
Like, this is a case of, and I know this is going to be where we depart. I got like 3 hours into Bowser's Inside Story and thought, I feel like I have played this game before, and stopped.
Okay. Well, I actually made it. I think I've actually beat it. I'm having trouble remembering. I really liked how like half the time in Bowser's Inside Story you're playing in 2D. I really liked how 90% of the game was just Bowser dicking around with his generals and shit. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah,
I don't think you're wrong
actually,
for not enjoying it. It's not very like dissimilar from Brothers in Time.
I've pointed this out before, but Brothers in Time I quit like after like the second
Partners in
dungeon where you have the babies, because I just could not deal with it anymore. Like just like my brain can process A for Mario, B for Luigi, but just add in the siblings, the baby siblings, and just it's too much for me. I'm
More
sorry.
buttons was always kind of more to keep track of than I think most people wanted to deal with. The
Yeah, and like for a boss
Brothers
battle,
items
it makes
concept
sense.
was kind of a weird choice.
Yeah,
Damn
no, it
Drop
makes
the
sense
combo.
on some
All right, well,
level.
we'll just actually do the level objectives now. Why not?
It makes sense on some level, but just it kind of has the same problems as goddamn Sonic and the Dark Brotherhood, where it's just like there's too much to do at a random encounter for me to be having fun.
There's no
But,
way to, like, the thing about it is most random encounters in most RPGs are kind of fuck-off fights. You don't care.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
trying to make every battle engaging is requiring the player to be more mentally checked in on fights that honestly they don't have a reason to care about.
Exactly. Like just to kill a couple of Goombas, you have to press like an entire DDR game. It's like no, thank you. But I will say that the first Mario and Luigi, I quit literally on the final boss because
The final boss is hard.
yeah, the final boss is hard, and I did it like 3 times, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I assume they win. Thank you for playing. Like, that's the end of the world. Yeah, that's great. Fawful dies. But
Oh god, I could live long and die happy without hearing more Fawful.
people, like, imprinted on Fawful like a baby bird.
Oh yeah, I heard.
But
I have Fury so many times. I hate it.
Yeah, there you go. But Bowser's Inside Story was actually the first Mario and Luigi game I beat because it was just engaging enough. And I don't necessarily think it's like one of my favorite games, but it is definitely a game that after the first 2 were not enough for me to finish, I finished it. So they were doing something right.
For me, like, it was one, like I said, I felt like I had played this before. Because I played the first and then I had quit partway through the second because bad. But for me, like, 3, it was just like, okay, you made the Mario and Luigi exploration less engaging to me. And, like, the Bowser stuff wasn't enough to make up for it for me, so that was my long and short on it. And then I never even tried Dream Team. And,
I never tried Dream Team either.
I played a little of Paper Jam, and that was another game that felt like it was made because, I mean, what else are we going to do with our time at Alpha Dream?
I'm looking forward to Brothership. That one looks alright.
It's been long enough that I could see myself playing another one.
Yeah, how long has it been?
Bowser's Inside Story was a DS game, so long fucking time.
That's a 2009 DS game, so about 15 years for that one. The Bowser's Inside Story remake on 3DS is like 2017 or something. Like real late. But that was the last
Wait,
one
Bowser's
they did.
Inside Story got a remake?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
On 3DS. It's basically the exact same game. But yeah, there's before Bowser's Inside Story on 3DS. The last original one was Paper Jam, and that was like 2015.
When are we gonna see the Switch 2?
Sometime before fiscal year 2026.
So in my gaming stuff, I found my handhelds, and I haven't gone through the whole box yet. But the games that were actually in my DS, one was GBA Snood.
That sounds fake. I don't
I remember
believe
that puzzle game.
Right, and that the actual DS game that was in it was. Now I have to go look. My
Trip combo. Can do.
my power just kind of crapped itself, so my internet is a little sloppy right now.
The internet is fighting back.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I might have fried my modem. That's a problem for another day.
It's very bad, actually.
It's a rental. It's fine. The DS game was Scribblenauts.
Ah, appropriate.
Appropriate, yeah.
Right? I figured you guys would get a kick out of that.
Needs more Superman.
Summon Cthulhu, but not Superman.
I love how you can actually use half pipes as part of your combo. Also, I fucked up this challenge twice in a row now.
Hooray!
Dream is canceled.
I already gave y'all the disclaimer that I am like stupid tired today, so y'all can just fucking deal.
Speed is cancelled.
He's canceled. This was the one game we thought he'd be good at. He's not. We're over.
I'm pretty good at it.
Can't be bad at games anymore because I'm woke.
Can't even suck at games anymore. This is what woke culture has done to us.
I'm eternally, like, completely losing my brain at the fact that people were putting out mods to make the Elden Ring DLC easier and still had the gall to, like, it still had, like, the incredible amount of, like, identity wrapped up in being good at games to declare these mods to be game journalism mode. Like, motherfucker, they had to finish the game without your stupid mod.
I mean,
Remember that one lady who was like, hey, I would like a pause button in this game because I am a mother. Which, like,
Yeah.
as far as, like, reasons to, like, want a pause button, that's up there, right? Like, that's
That's
not unreasonable.
Like, it was dumb back on the Sega Genesis when Mortal Kombat didn't have a pause button. Like, bitch, I was like 10, I don't know, and I was like, yo, my friend just showed up at the door to play Mortal Kombat. Let me pause to answer the door. Listen, you stupid game, I'm in charge here.
Oh, fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
There's,
no,
like, almost an argument to be made based on, like, online play, but the thing is, like, if I'm in
Single-player
offline mode,
fucking game.
yeah, well, like, technically people can invade your game, but the point is, like, if I'm playing in offline mode, you should let me pause.
Yeah, that's not a big ask. I would say that's actually a very small ask.
But my favorite thing regarding pausing was definitely from approximately the PS2 era, when you would be playing a video game where there were cutscenes, and something would happen, and you had a 50-50 chance of hitting
Complete
the start
roll of
button.
the dice about what was going to happen when you press start.
Yeah, you might pause the cutscene, or you might advance the cutscene and have no opportunity to see it ever again.
I ran into that situation twice in the same extremely long cutscene while I'm in my attempt to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And it was hysterical because I was fighting a boss. No, I went I remember the night quite clearly because our oven caught fire. That's why I was suddenly trying to pause the game. That's
a good reason. You shouldn't have to explain that to a game.
Let's see. What am I even looking for? Oh, wait. No, I'm looking to take selfies of myself with the mall in the background. Let's see if I can do this.
Something is on fire. It's an excellent reason to have a pause button.
No, so, like, the cutscene was, like, midway through, and my wife is like, hey, we gotta deal with this right now, and I was like, oh shit, we really do. So I hammered start, threw the Switch down on the couch, and ran over to the kitchen, right? Came back to it like 5 minutes later to find that I was in a boss fight. I had apparently skipped the cutscene instead of pausing. And I just got into the boss fight and was apparently doing pretty okay. And I was like, well, whatever. Not gonna carve or spilt milk. There's this thing called YouTube. This is not a big deal. So I started fighting the boss. Got back in the green. Was doing all right. And then my wife called me over again because the problem was ongoing. So I pressed start again and ran off. And I don't know if start actually pauses in that game or what. But I remember coming back.
It actually activates the special move.
Yeah, I think it activates the special move, right? So I pushed start, tossed the Switch back down on the couch, and went off to deal with the crisis of the moment. Came back a few minutes later, and it was in the post-boss cutscene. The game had beaten the boss without me. And I was just sort of like, I wasn't even mad. I was just sort of like, wow.
I wasn't even mad.
I guess it wasn't that difficult.
I guess not.
Of course you weren't mad. The game was doing its job.
Yeah. All right. Where's the last dude at? Wait. Before I find the last dude, let's swap over to Trice. Why not? Give everybody a chance to shine.
Back in the PS2 version, the PS2 era, we didn't have the luxury of, let me check YouTube. And also there were games like Final Fantasy X-2.
Fanboy, you're really quiet. I don't know what's going on.
Pretend like you haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, Fanboy, you're super quiet. Are you away from your mic?
I am pushing my mic up so that I do not chew into it while eating this burrito.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
That'll do it.
Very polite.
Priorities.
But Final Fantasy X-2, if you skip the cutscene, you did not get completion points for that cutscene.
Yeah, it would treat it like you hadn't seen it at all.
100%.
That's
evil. Yeah. Yes, very.
Not even evil. It's just insane.
Cutscenes
have completion points. What the fuck?
Yeah, Ten-2 has tons of stuff that is just designed to troll you, and one of them is that. And another is that one, old guy who starts talking and just, takes forever to say anything. And you have, a dialogue option to urge him to keep talking. And that is a trap. You need to just let him sit there and eventually figure out what he was going to say naturally. Because that's the only way to get the full completion for listening to him ramble.
And also, let's not forget the fact that the entire, fourth chapter of the game is Night Trap.
You'll get caught. in the night.
The idea that, like, in the PS2 era, and, like, let's be realistic here, PS2 cutscenes were bad. There are entire essays about the laughing scene in Final Fantasy X.
And all of them are disingenuously written. In this video essay, I will... Sorry,
don't get me started. I'm just holding my tongue.
Look, I'm not
Yeah,
saying that,
like-
like, the video wasn't... I'm not saying that cutscene wasn't supposed to be cringe. I'm saying watching it hurt.
It did exactly what it's supposed to.
I did not want to hurt.
And why were you playing it?
Because I was
I
young
will
and
speak
stupid,
of-
apparently.
It is memorable exactly the way it was supposed to be memorable, but that didn't work out correctly.
Yeah, I just have like this like gut reflex reaction to the amount of people who thought that they were like outsmarting the game. Like, oh, they didn't realize what they'd done. Like, literally, characters say, "Stop doing that! You sound insane." Like, that is the end of that scene.
Of that scene. Yeah, no, that's accurate. And yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, the voice acting's so bad. He sounds crazy." A character is actively telling him he sounds crazy. This was in the script. They knew that going in.
Like, we can have arguments about whether like that was a worthwhile feeling to convey.
I don't think it was.
But
That's my take.
but-
I am not
Yeah,
trying
no,
to
I am-
argue that,
I am-
like,
I am
oh,
not talking about you.
okay, because I brought it up. I'm kind of
Yeah,
connected
I'm
here.
bringing this up because 90% of the time when it's brought up, people like seem to like. There is this entire class of gamer that is like convinced that developers, especially like Japanese writers, just don't know the implications of what they're doing.
Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Yeah,
it was a
no,
bad
I'm-
idea.
Yeah, and I disagree with you on that. That's one of the few things that FF10 does that I actually feel works fairly well. But like that is a more coherent discussion to have than, haha, they didn't realize what they'd done. No, you're just lazy in interpreting the scene.
I didn't realize what they had done.
I'm eternally reminded of people
Did I do that correctly?
of seeing
Yeah.
people respond to the lines "pull my devil trigger" and thinking, "Oh, they didn't realize that sounds like innuendo." And it's like, no, that was the point.
Yeah, it's like one thing to read a comic from like the 1940s where they use the word boner unlike we use it now, but it's another thing when like again, Capcom puts out a goddamn video game. Like,
I think
I have sa-
I have read
They've got
the comic that you're
localization
referring to,
of it.
Gagapop, and they absolutely knew what a boner was.
yeah, that person was pulling the wool over someone's eyes when it came to editorial, but
Joker's boner.
how dare you mock the Joker's boner?
I would never mock the Joker's boner.
But yeah, like I remember sitting through like a pretty interesting panel at PAX when DMC5 came out, where the director on that game, Itsuno, was just sort of talking about like he for some reason like a question came up about like do you realize how silly it is, and it's like, yeah, like Devil May Cry is the chuniest game possible, where chuni is Japanese slang for like middle school syndrome.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can see, like, the intro to Devil May Cry 3, this is an easy example, and think they are doing anything but, like, taking a piss.
Oh
Like,
yeah, the intro to Devil May
Dante
Cry
can't
3
eat a pizza.
is unironically one of the greatest pieces of like just video content, film. I would call that film. Just
Like, the way I would look at it is that, like, tons of games are, tons of these Japanese games that people are like, oh, these aren't self-aware at all. They're extremely self-aware.
Yeah.
They just don't have characters tell you it.
yeah. There's nobody mugging for the camera saying, "Well, that happens." And when they did that, we all hated it. And we were right to.
Because that sucks.
Yeah, because it's awful. Like, is that what they fucking wanted? These people, like, they're like, oh, it's not self-aware. Yes, it is. You're just stupid.
Yeah, like, it fully explains, like, why so many people do that, though. And it sucks. I hate that I have that explanation that has to live in my brain now. That's why you do that, because if you don't, a certain part of the audience will just assume that you had no idea what you had put on screen. Also, fighting a robot.
Yeah.
He's a big robot.
He's a big robot. Big
Android
fuck robot arms.
What am I thinking of when I see a big robot with a giant tank for a head? A turret for a head.
I feel like that could be a lot of things.
I don't know, man. This motherfucker's too far away from me to him. Oh, nope, there he goes. There we go. Get fucked, idiot.
I once made a big list of everything that games and anime have called robots to avoid saying big robot. Everything I could think of, and it was a list that had like well over 50 entries on it.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they should just call it big robot. Evas are big robots. No, they're power armor. No, fuck you, they're big robots. They got like a dead god inside them, whatever, who cares?
They have your dead mom in them.
They were also had like a big thing made out of flesh and shit. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, but your dead mom is also in them.
Shit, so you took like this ancient like dead leviathan and you shoved your dead mom in there. And then you covered it in robot shit. And then you put a kid inside of it because definitely a child. Oh wait, no, they only work for children. That's right, I forgot. I don't like that.
They tend to think best with the children
of those dead moms.
Born after Second
They are
Impact.
powered by forsaken orphans.
I love that, like, the idea of, like, oh, we shouldn't have children pilot robots, is one of those things that, like, a lot of 90s, Ava fans took as, like, oh, finally a TV show that's saying this, and it's like, motherfucker, I can cite you shows from 1976 that were about this.
Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the first themes that fucking big robot shows have, because it's about like fucking children being drafted.
I was about to say, they're about like the horrors of war. Inevitably, they're going to get into. Well, should 12-year-olds be exposed to this? Probably not.
I mean that's it, because you look at fuck. What am I trying to say here? The theme, the underlying theme of Ava is about kids born after the bubble, in a way that is a direct line from like Kinji Fukasaku movies, right? Because Kinji Fukasaku is among other things tormented by the thought of what it was like to be a child born at the death of the Japanese Empire, you know, because he was one of the last. He was the last child born during at the height of the Japanese Empire, more or less, like you know, philosophically speaking.
Yeah.
And he makes all of these movies about what it means to be, you know, to be after that. And so it's like, okay, well, now let's look at what happens when you're born after the bubble. You know, only we're going to do this. We're going to do this, you know, using the cultural language of the post World War II period, because that's what we got from that's what the giant robot shows were. You know.
Because no one at Gainax ever wanted to stop calling out to the things that they had watched growing up.
Well, that's it. Yeah, the guy. I mean, yeah, because the men at Gainax were consciously, you know, in a state of arrested development. They arrested themselves.
Like Otaku no Video is only a mild exaggeration.
Yeah. The graffiti of Otaku generation. At the same time, though, Otaku no Video, I think Otaku no Video has a certain certain mindfulness about what it is to be an otaku. You know, like I think there's something there's something, and this thought is just occurring to me, so I may be completely insane here. There's something in Otaku no Video about how the otaku perspective is always backwards. The otaku is always looking into the past, and I don't know. There's something about
like
that.
we see the time skip forward as we get into the second episode, and it is like rapid, like it even approaches that in its own sense by becoming rapidly about wistfulness and regret.
Yeah. You know, they
make it
main...
big, and now none of them can truly pursue their passions anymore.
Yeah. And I don't know. It is one of the. I hate to use the cliche telling on themselves, but there is an almost certainly unintentional. There's like almost certainly unintentional.
Finally.
Self self exposure or self revelation.
It can feel unintentionally revealing.
That's it, unintentionally revealing. They have unintentionally revealed like the heart of their ethic, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, guys.
And like it's definitely clear successes. It was definitely clear that they knew it was weird, but it also feels like they didn't. Perhaps consciously were aware that they weren't sure how to what degree and how to handle it.
Yeah, it's like the ending is so interesting because they are in the future, and they what do they look for? They look for their past, and then once they reconnect with their past, they just go they completely fall into this escapist fantasia. It's like, oh, we've done it. We've reconnected with our youth, and now we can finally, after all these years, go back to this weightless escapism with the same with the same intensity, and it will feel just as good as it did when we were kids and we were doing this without any sense that we were missing out or that we were or that we were neglecting a life.
We will completely shelve the parts of the past that we now regret, like the failed relationships, the shattered friendships, the failed business ventures. Like all of those will be in the past because we will be once again chained to our obsessions.
Yeah, exactly. There's a that's it. It is again very revealing, and with the perspective of literal decades between now and when I first saw it, it's that
Oh yeah, it's very like. The ending is trying to push for this idea that your obsessions can never leave you. The things you love will never, those things will never go away. But the hollowness that undergirds those is hard to ignore.
Yeah.
When you have actual perspective on life.
I mean, the most I think the truest line in that is the first one. Like, damn, do I hate otaku.
No one can hate otaku more than another otaku.
Exactly. And it is and I think about when I first saw Otaku no Video when I was 19, and
that is I'm not sure if that's the best or the worst time to see that.
I think it is. I think Otaku no Video, like the Empire State Building, should be seen once in the morning, once at the height of day, and then once in the evening.
Fair.
And I saw it for the first time when I was 18. I was like, what an amazing life that is. And now I'm a middle-aged
What more
man.
could I want?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking back as a middle-aged man now, and I'm looking at that and say, I know exactly what more one could want from life.
I have seen the true face of this life.
Yeah, exactly. I have done it. I've become Otaku Rorschach. I am. I've seen Creamy Mommy tire tread on Burst's stomach.
I don't know what that means, and I don't wanna. I'm good. I don't, whatever that was, it made me go no.
No, if Raider was on this call, the next sound you would have heard he'd have lost his goddamn mind. The next sound you would have heard would be him achieving escape velocity. He was laughing so hard.
Well, good for good for Raider. May he appreciate this joke next time he's around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, between all of the failed business ventures and shattered friendships, turned out to be mostly prophetic of real life in that sense. It was never as high stakes as it was portrayed in Otaku no Video as a heightened object, but definitely. They definitely got the part where a bunch of them hate each other and possibly some of them get arrested for some sort of fraud. That part was true.
That part was true. Yeah. Or like the one story from Gainax that I think is almost sympathetic to me at this point is them like in full crunch on Evangelion, surviving entirely on unsold pallets of Evangelion barbecue potato chips.
That is.
Yeah. I live eternally with the fact that, like, eternally the person who gets to set the narrative for what went right and wrong with Ava is Anno. Like, that is the story that is always told. And I think eternally about, like, oh, it was super behind for XYZ reasons, and then, like, you hear anyone else's perspective, and it's like, yeah, it was super behind because he kept not turning in the scripts on time.
I mean, like, I feel like everything you need to know about Ava is that it was supposed to have a remake that was supposed to be done in 2009, and it came out like in 2020.
2021.
2021, yeah.
They sat on it for a while because they were like, no, we will release this in theaters.
That's an insane thing to think.
I mean, it in Japan it did. But like, there's like the delusions of grandeur about what the Ava license can do in the U.S. has always been kind of up there. Like the infamous bit about how, like, allegedly it was very hard to procure the license for a long time because it was like, if you're going to license like the movies, you have to give them a wide theatrical release, and it's like, no one's going to, like, the second we try to get like fucking End of Ava and like 5 minutes in, like, someone is jacking off onto a child's tits, it's like, no.
An unconscious child's tits, should be noted.
Yeah.
Well, and Ebert would have things to say
like
about
that. Like, it's not like a child can consent either way.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like that should not go unnoticed, unnoted.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that, like, the second you try to get that a wide theatrical release, it's like,
I'm
no,
gonna
absolutely
refill my
not.
glass real quick. I'll be right back.
Yep.
But the tale that always floated around was the idea that this was part of what made Ava such a pain in the ass to, like, actually license.
It is.
Someone at Gainax was insistent.
It is incredible to me that someone at Gainax is like, no, this must have, as you said, wide theatrical release. The children of the world demand death and rebirth and end of Evangelion.
Imagine trying to sell Death and Rebirth to any theater in the U.S. Just from like the notion of like, oh, it's a clip show movie of a show that's never aired on television here, and is only appealing to fans of the television show who have forgotten what happened in it, even though they can't possibly do that because they had to purchase it in its entirety.
Somewhere there's a guy who owns a theater that like their richest night every year is when they show Repo Man in 35 millimeter, and he's looking at that and is like, you know what? Nope, not gonna roll the dice on this one.
I mean, I'll state that like Ava for the longest time, like the majority of people who I knew that had watched it before like End of Evangelion was released in America, like it was on VHS tape. Like we're not even talking about something that premiered at 6 p.m. on a cable network that nobody had. Like this was something that was like I'm trying to think like the Brack show had to have a higher viewer rating than Neon Genesis Evangelion.
That's a good point.
Nobody made a movie with Brack.
I have something to say here. My introduction to Evangelion was when like I had like a terrible Spanish teacher sophomore year. Like he literally he literally had to like give everybody a curve of 50 points and 150 out of 150 points total on the final exam because everybody failed it because he failed at teaching us so badly. But one day,
es bueno.
Yeah, no, not great. But one day, he was just sort of sitting there going, "I got nothing. Any of you guys got a video or some shit? I just don't care anymore." He was extremely checked out. And one of these fucking nerds says, "I got a video." He puts on a random episode of Ava. I just will always remember Professor Ruiz de Guillermo just sitting there at his desk, just sort of staring in befuddled awe at what was unfolding on screen. I think it was like
it
the
in
one.
English or subtitled?
It was. I think it was dubbed.
Okay.
But I do remember.
He's like sitting there, and in his internal monologue is just Neil Young. Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you.
It was one. I don't remember which episode it was, but I know there's one episode where like the Ava stomps on a monster or whatever, and there's like a tidal wave of gore. I don't. Am I remembering?
Yeah.
He was summarily fired.
Yeah. Oh no! Oh no! 8-ball. Wait, no, it's not.
Reminds me of the Japanese teacher at the school I went to. Accidentally just showing Princess Mononoke to a bunch of like 9-year-olds and not thinking too hard about the part where like forest spirit gets its head chopped off and a geyser of blood flies out.
I was about to say that movie was traumatizing when I was 16.
Yeah, Mononoke is pretty unflinching in its depiction of violence.
Yeah.
That's I think that's why that ends up being like my preferred Ghibli movie, just because there's no romance to it.
Yeah.
Like
people are just go ahead.
No, just like, like there's a lot almost all of them are dark, but there's usually like some sense of like romance or like there's joy in this darkness. There's very little joy to be found in Mononoke. There is a grim warning, a grim portent, but there is no uppers here. There's no sugar here.
It's all downers.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I think Mononoke is fundamentally a hopeful picture.
It ultimately ends on like a hopeful note because it's like no matter how grim this is, something like this is still something we can turn back from. We can be better than this.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like the actual event, you do not get.
Right, because I mean, Mononoke is fundamentally about the decline of a world, an entire enchanted world. The world is becoming disenchanted. It is an irreversible process.
I was going to say it's ultimately a tragedy. It's just a matter of it doesn't end on a hopeful note.
There is always time after tragedy.
There, exactly. And it is in the end about it is about that time after tragedy. I think. I think you can see that with Lady Eboshi because she is, all of Lady Eboshi's followers are people who are there after the single worst thing that ever happened to them. Like that is why they have come to that's why they have come to serve Lady Eboshi. And yeah, I don't know. It is. I just think about that. Yeah, there is a time after tragedy, and there is hope in that time.
In actual video game, whatever, the boss of .exe got shot, and now Red's losing his mind again. Pretty standard shit, really. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Get used to that. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, this is
standard.
This is very normal for Red at this point. Just go into his mind palace, which is like just video game trippy shit. And I love video game trippy shit. I always have loved like how video games try to represent. Hey, what's something like just really fucking weird? Like what's that look like to you?
A half-drowned ball.
Gigantic pillars of water, a weird like pulsing sky. Sure, why not?
Well, the ball had kind of a fish theme, so now
Yeah,
you got
no,
those fish
it all makes
in the
sense.
water here.
Chris Weed Piano said, "Hi, beat, cool game you've got here."
Thank you, Chris Weed Piano.
Noted weed pianist.
That's truly incredible handle. Chris has sent me a bunch of like just horrific ads for my horrific ad thread, and for that I am eternally grateful.
Oh dear.
Missed that jump.
Giant crazy ass fish things.
Incidentally, at any point do you get to return to these dreamscapes?
Not really, no. These dreamscapes are all explicitly linear. They're not really like explorable areas. They have a set path to go through them. So returning to them.
But there isn't like a time attack mode for them or something.
No, not that I'm aware of. Like maybe if you like get every single tag in the game, but I certainly haven't done that. Is that all of them? Is that all I had to do? Nice. I love that like you can beat these guys up, but like the actual like best way to deal with them is just to rocket into them. Also, it's kind of easy to miss in like the clutter there, but like the thing covered in garbage is an enormous robot head.
Uh-oh.
Head versus head.
Hey.
At first I figured the giant sleeves were just because, I've heard drawing hands is really hard.
It is. I'm not like an artist, but like every artist I know says that.
Rendering hands is also hard. They have so many fingers.
Oh,
All clear.
It's not as late as I thought. We can do another mission.
sounds good. I'm so
I'm
tired.
probably gonna knock off a 10, but don't let me stop you.
Well, I can stop now. Oh, also they
No.
it's that guy. They kept his head alive in suspended animation.
I was about to say, those heads don't stay alive like that.
Heads do not stay alive, but it's the future.
Like, that makes things difficult.
This next one usually goes pretty quick because, well, I just typically rush through it. So another 30 minutes. Think you can stick around that long, Goggle Bob?
Can do my best.
All right, good enough for me.
I believe in you for some reason.
I
Maybe because
don't.
maybe because you're not playing a game.
I mean, all I have to do is continue to keep a laptop on my lap. I might be able to pull this off.
Oh no. Oh, Red died.
Memento mori.
Red, no.
Red, no.
Oh, it's okay. He's just crying tears of blood.
I was gonna say, how does a robot head bleed?
Um,
Oil? I mean, his name's Red, so maybe he's just got
What?
Maybe
Da-da-da-da-da.
There's a dude in there?
Then whose head was in the box? Do me a favor and don't tell anybody.
We gotta find the Flesh Prince
Yeah.
in West Africa.
Oh, you're
Charlie.
you're a different person.
Yeah, it turns out you're some other guy.
I feel like this plot really is getting ahead.
No. So bad.
Uncle Bob, I'm trying not to bully you due to your enfeebled state, but you're making it difficult.
How enfeebled are we talking?
We don't know
I
how much
spent
longer
in
we'll
New
have
York,
Bob.
and
Yeah.
I may have gotten different kinds of heat stroke that are stacked on top of each other.
Oh, yeah. I
dear.
had that the
Stacking
other
Like
day.
I'm power maxing heat stroke.
He's heat stroke maxing.
See you later, fam.
So, like, normally I take, like, forever every time I do one of these levels, just because I enjoy playing this game. But this one I always rush through because I'm like, oh no, I have to help my friends. And I realize that's, like, a stupid, like, way to look at playing video games. But,
Meteor will be here in 10 days.
yeah.
The sense of urgency that they instill on you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice when you feel that you can do that in a game. Like, you know, like I make a joke about Final Fantasy VII, but that's definitely one where it's kind of like, particularly on possibly your first playthrough, you're kind of like, oh, I gotta do something about this.
Thanks.
I love the Franks because they are just Frankenstein together basketball players. They are funny. I enjoy them.
This is such a huge open space that would never exist in reality.
Oh yeah. Video
Make some
games.
sort of horrible walkable cities meme, but with the with Bomb Rush.
I mean, again, having just been in New York, I can tell you what the crowds would actually look like in a city like this.
Oh yeah.
Like this place is empty. No
Yeah.
one lives here.
Well, no, I mean, I do have to say, even more than Jet Set Radio, it does feel like there are people here.
Oh yeah.
It's just maybe it's a holiday.
The holiday where everyone left.
Like pretty much anything before the PS3 era, I always feel any given city is like empty.
I was gonna say no. It's a weekday. Everybody's in buildings.
Yeah, everyone's at their job. The Bomb Rush crew do not have jobs.
Exactly.
Their job is graffiti.
Okay, wait. Can anybody else tell me if they had this experience? Like, okay, so I went to school, like high school and everything, and it was always whatever, like 8 to 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get to college and you've got your own schedule, or maybe you didn't go to college or whatever. And like you go to the mall on a Tuesday afternoon, I expected it to be like empty. Like logically, everyone's at work or school, right? Like
I would imagine that like, oh, it's one of those things that like, the conclusion I ended up drawing was just sort of like, oh, like 90% of people are out, are like at work or whatever. That still leaves 10% of people who like have the day off or are out of a job or like a million other things. That, like, well,
Yeah.
I guess they just needed to be here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember when I worked, I worked the kind of job where you get like Monday and Thursday off.
Oh yeah, those were always nuts.
And it's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Well, I guess I'm gonna go like sit on the bench in front of Sam Goody and drink, and drink a
What a
fucking-
specific time to be Sam Goody.
Damn,
I'm just gonna sit in front of Sam Goody for 3 hours because at least I'm not home and I'm in air conditioning because it's August and I work the kind of job where they don't give you a chair.
That's rough. Yeah, man.
Where was
I was always uncertain if Sam Goody became FYE or if they were just
Good question.
or if it was just the sort of thing where it's like they're basically the exact same kind of store, so all those locations just got bought out eventually.
Okay, let's see here. So Sam Goody was purchased by Transworld Entertainment, which also ran FYE.
Transworld Surf.
So yes, Sam Goody was founded by Sam Goody Goodowitz of New York City.
Yeah,
That's,
that sounds extremely
that
real.
sounds like a fake name. I don't like that name.
I believe that of New York.
He opened a small record store on New York's 9th Avenue shortly after the advent of the long-playing vinyl record.
This would have been like 1947, 48.
Oh yeah. So he was like, hey, this long-playing record, there's something here, see?
I always
good?
forgets that that's what LP stands for.
I love the like the LP and EP like standards, the 33 and a third and 45, like they're remnants of like a format war that kind of just never happened.
Yeah.
Like both
yeah.
of like people were trying to replace 78s pre World War II, and then World War II kind of scuttled like spending time and money on that. And then post World War II, we get the 45 and the 33 and a third pop out, but the like ultimately a format war sort of like there was an attempt to by the record company that was backing 45s to sell albums that were only on 45s. Mm-hmm. So you would get like if you wanted like what we would think of as an album's worth of music, like an hour. If we were looking at it like an album's like 45 minutes to an hour's worth of music, you were getting something that was like, here's 445 records, like arranged in a little book.
I love it. Yeah, because I'm old enough that I remember when I was like in kindergarten or preschool and kindergarten, like my classrooms still had little 45 record players.
Mm-hmm.
And like, sometimes if didn't have anything else to do, someone would break out the 45, like the little 45s, for like the that you play alongside the little, short version of Dumbo that would come packaged with it, and it just an utterly alien, system of delivering media, even to the mind of like a 4-year-old in the middle 80s.
Yeah, it's fascinating because like part of the reason that format war never really happened is like ultimately, they like the company backing 45s like backs off on that and it's like, okay, we'll release things on long playing records, it's fine, whatever. They put like this enormous like 30 item list in like Billboard magazine explaining how you really should be buying 45s, but as a favor to you all, we will be selling them on 33. But like genuinely deranged. There's actually a good YouTube video by just like this 50-something British man outlining everything that I'm saying here. But like,
oh my god, I can hear his voice in my ears, and I also know in my heart of hearts, I never ever want to eat Chinese food with this man, because he will just open his mouth and out will pour just the most acidic racism that I have ever heard. I will think I have heard racism. Like, I'm from the American South. I've heard this before. He will open his mouth and I will be reduced to tears.
One thing that I will give the man, it's a YouTube man called Techmoan, and he at least had the what's that?
Just the name.
Yeah, he at least has the decency to point out when like going over some of these old formats of like, hey, this is just a record executive writing in Billboard magazine, but he's being like just stupendously racist about Japanese people right now for some reason. But
no, oh my god, this would be around the same time that what is the word here? So Henry Ford, he bequeathed Ford to his son, Henry Ford II, known to his friends and associates as the Deuce. And there came a time when I believe it was Toyota offered Carroll Shelby a Toyota dealership, just straight up a Toyota dealership, lifetime multi-million-dollar income for the rest of his life. Just so they could say that Carroll Shelby sold Toyotas. and the Deuce drove to Carroll Shelby's house and said, Carroll, I want you to turn it down because we are going to kick their redacted asses back to the Pacific.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lord.
That is difficult to imagine.
Like, I'm certain that it's true. It's horrible to think about. But yeah.
Also, Carroll Shelby turning that down, he would have been unimaginably rich. Can you imagine having one of the first Toyota dealerships in America?
Oh, Jesus.
There we go, much better.
But Henry Ford, the Deuce did Carroll the dirty there. The Deuce did you the dirty boy.
But to finish the thought, the thing that's the thing that's fascinating is that part of the reason that a real format war never really happened is that the way that analog records function is so it's so impossible to make proprietary that you just need a motor that can run at 2 or 3 different speeds. So
this unimaginable technology.
You were going to say, B?
I just wanted to note in the game here, one of my favorite like tiny little character moments is that Bomb Rush and the Franks hate each other, but the second Bomb Rush goes to Flesh Prince just to ask for a favor, like for a medical emergency, he just immediately just like drops everything, goes, oh yeah, sure, I'm on my way. Also, I love that, like, Belle's immediate inclination to finding out that Red has a human head under there somehow is to take a selfie with it.
I mean, that's what I would do too.
I mean, when are you gonna see it again?
But yeah, like I mean, like if you know, like Flesh Prince like sees this as a rivalry. It's not a win in terms of a rivalry if your opponent just fucking dies.
Yeah, no, he's
You
not
got
a
nobody
bad
to
person.
play.
He just, you know, he's on the other team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, concluding that thought, like, yeah, you just because of the way that records work, you can make a multi-compatible record player just by having a motor that can spin at 2 speeds. So
Rendering
That
the
kinda-
rendering the whole thing academic.
yeah, like most people who cared just immediately, like, oh, I'll get a, or like you could even like at that point they were even just selling kits, like here, upgrade your 78 record player to play. Upgrade your
45,
78
33.
record player to play 45s and 33 and a third records.
Incredible.
Yo.
Meanwhile, there's like there's the guy from RCA Victor just punching through his hat.
Furious, disgusted. spends another 20 years trying to put movies on records.
Deeply insane. Deeply insane.
If you have never seen or read anything about the CED's like long horrible gestation, like when I say spend 20 years trying to put movies on vinyl, that is not a joke or an exaggeration.
Good God. That's so just I don't know, man. Oh, I don't know.
Genuinely wild.
I can't. It doesn't make my brain refuses to process this. Oh
Like,
yeah, and then this-
imagine, like imagine being at a company for 20 years and a project that like was for like a consumer device was not finished during that period.
yeah. You show up in your first day after you graduate from Caltech or whatever. And it's like the future of entertainment. That's what we're building here. 20 years later,
Select
you-
division.
yeah, 20 years later, you're just like utterly burnt out. You have produced nothing.
You've been shuffled from project to project because like fucking the division of, I want to say it was RCA Victor that was making these fucking CEDs, like they fully had this situation where R&D was wagging the dog. So like when people in R&D saw something, it's like, that sounds cool, let's work on that, and then they get bored of it 3 years later before there's a viable product and move on to a different thing that we'll never see released because
I'm so
R&D
glad the
calls its
American
own shots.
technology industry learned from this and has never done it again.
We don't call it R&D anymore, we call it tech.
God. Oh man.
We just gotta jump to the next bubble. As
That's
long
all.
as no one watches the bubble explode and we move our money out of it beforehand, that money is there still might be a return on all that money.
I can't get over how Facebook changed its name to Meta and then just quietly pretended it never believed in the metaverse at all. Which, you
They
know,
have to keep the name Meta and just pretend that it's like, oh, it's because we're more than just Facebook. You're not more than just Facebook. There's no other part of that other than Facebook and ads, and the ads are tied to Facebook.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
you should-
they have
you should just
WhatsApp,
have-
technically, who cares?
Ads are tied to that too.
Company name
Like
for reals.
Instagram and WhatsApp are just offshoots of Facebook.
Extensions of
Facebook as far as
Facebook.
yeah.
And there have been articles recently pointing out the fact that, like, I don't really spend any time on Facebook, but apparently the AI slop is taking it over worse than like any other social.
Oh
media.
yeah,
God.
yeah, no, that's absolutely the
It's like
case.
the most undiscerning old people reposting
I was
constantly.
about to say it's just a six-finger version. one of the things that I will never forget.
This
about the
six-fingered
whole-
Jesus is
You know-
is being bowed to by a different Jesus.
Just the one thing I will never forget about all of this AI nonsense going on is the one time I was talking to my mother over lunch, and she was complaining about one of my, I guess technically her cousin, but like a relative who lives, like a town over, essentially. And she was like, "Oh yeah, Carol was posting one of those pictures that, it's not real because like Donald Trump has 3 hands, but nobody's like complaining about it." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's AI, Mom." like she doesn't know the right words for it, but she can identify what this is.
Yeah, like,
Which puts her ahead of the curve.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
well-
sincerely doubt most of the people saying, "Oh my God, so beautiful" to the woman with 3 torsos, which is like,
Yeah.
weird
Like,
fucking
those are
thing to
robots
have.
themselves.
Those are all robots. Like,
Yeah, but distinctly what my mother was complaining about was a relative of mine sharing an AI-generated image of Donald Trump praying in a church and saying,
Donald
like,
Trump
God
would never
believes
pray.
in this man or something. And, yeah, like, whether or not the person who shared it believed it was a real image or just conceptually God has chosen this man, like, it's vaguely irrelevant.
People will believe what they must want.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
No, I don't know. I think it is just unspeakably sad that an entire generation memed themselves into early dementia on Facebook, and now the combination of Fox News and Facebook like robbed like so many families of their grandparents. It makes me unspeakably furious. All of these people who should have been like loving, engaged grandparents just turned into, they turned into like basement trolls. And
yeah.
Well, and also to a lesser
It's addictive
degree-
to be angry.
it is addictive to be angry. And as you get older, like your brain is less good at processing certain emotions. But anger stays with you. Anger is one of the last things you
Anger's
lose.
pretty easy.
Yeah, anger's easy.
I myself am, and I've said this many times, I am an angry man. And yeah, it's simple. It's addictive in a way.
Yeah.
And I'll say that, like, even both of my parents, luckily, I feel like I'm vaguely blessed that neither of them completely go in on the Fox News nonsense. But-
You're not vaguely blessed, sir. You're just straight up blessed.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: my dad
like-
was an early adopter.
Lovely.
Oh,
No,
But
that was
to continue what I was
my.
saying, But just going to say that
Yeah.
my parents don't go in on the full Fox News thing, but they both don't have the sort of wherewithal to realize that, like, literally every quote-unquote local news network is owned by the same company. So they both will still, like, they won't go in on the Trump nonsense, but if the newspaper, the news, whatever, is reporting on the fact that there were 3 murders in Philadelphia last night, they hammer it, and then, both my parents say, "Oh, all the networks are talking about this." It's like, well, yeah, that's technically true, but basically, they're being scared into not leaving their home.
You're looking at a rounding error.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
the thing is, like, again, I consider myself pretty lucky that they're generally pretty savvy about this, but by the same token, both of them do kind of believe that, I'm not going to say that cities are a hellhole, but, like, when I tell them I'm going to be in New York for the weekend, both of them sort of had the reaction of, like, is your will up to date?
Yeah.
I had to spend so much time assuring like family members that like they are not there's not some sort of like nuclear bomb that is going to go off in Capitol Hill just because you keep reading about like Chaz Chop, whatever it was called by that point. It's fine. Like most of those people there are either like worst case scenario they're shooting up. Most of those people there are mostly just passing out blankets and shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that definitely what's left of our news networks are not exactly covering people passing out blankets.
That's
Oh, yeah.
not news.
And like, yeah, even people that haven't gone completely into the insanity that is like Fox News or whatever, it's still very easy to believe the world's gotten a lot scarier, even though crime statistics literally bear out the fact that we've got less crime.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It helps that
hooray.
there's less lead.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
You ready?
Less lead, more
Like
social
we have,
media.
like we have to, like I always have to, like, you know, as much as like obviously I get just so exhausted, I have to live with the fact that like, oh yeah, my when I was growing up, my parents were still referring to regular gasoline as unleaded. Like
Yeah.
that is the world they grew up in, and there was definitely
Yep.
still some hangover lead in the air.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hangover.
No, I
Like
think about that.
we're all going to find out the deleterious effects of like consuming microplastics for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But it seems like the answer to that is like probably new and exotic forms of cancer rather than
I mean, I am 90%
well,
accurate. at this
regulation.
point.
Yeah. No, the tinfoil hat theory I've heard is that we're gonna find out like all of a sudden that like blue light does something to the brain after the age of 70, and we're all just gonna have to deal with it.
Oh, I mean, I wasn't gonna have great years after the age of 70 anyway, so
Yeah.
like
I mean, let's not pretend we're all going to be anything but Walmart greeters or Amazon greeters.
oh, I won't have a job at all.
That's like I. My wife and I have had the discussion about like what do we do in our old age, and she's like, "Well, you're gonna die," and I'm like, "What do you mean?"
That's a
She's
fair
like-
point.
And I'm like, she's like, "Have you seen yourself? Have you seen the way you live and the things you do? You're just gonna die." And I'm like, "Yeah, all right, sure. I mean, it makes a certain amount of sense when you put it that way."
Also, it's drill time because I just remembered one of my favorite drill tweets from the last election.
Make it happen.
I deserve the most mentally ill president imaginable. 99-year-old Maveling doofus. Send us into the volcano, sir. Because, like, the phrase, send me into the volcano, sir, was what immediately came to mind when I was thinking about what I'll be like after 70. It's just send me into the volcano, sir.
I love it. I love that. Oh my god.
Your retirement plans are either breeder at an Amazon warehouse or become
No, for me, it's send me into the volcano. I take the third option.
Neither greeter nor indigent, but a secret third thing. Parenthesis incinerated.
You suckers have to deal with it now. I'm in the volcano god stands now.
Oh my god. Oh my
My
god.
life insurance does in fact cover acts of volcano god, though, so one of you will be very rich.
Oh man.
I still like I will remember acts of Spider God.
I knew that was what I was activating in you when I said that.
I know. I saw it and I appreciated it. I'm just saying, it's fucked
No,
up.
it was just one of those
how
things
I
that, like, I wanted
imprinted
you to
onto
know I
that
did
one
it
like
on
a baby
purpose.
bird.
God, now remembering. Again, drill tweets from like 4 years ago, like drill talking about the Koch brother that died. Was it? I have to pull my personal archive. That'll make it. It'll be faster.
Hit it.
Okay.
So I should go to Pyramid. If I was going to do the next mission, I would go to Pyramid Island. But instead of doing that, I'm just fucking around and recruiting new team members, because you can do that in this game. I just got the girl version of Graham from Jet Set Radio. In fact, let's switch to her.
Clean.
Like, I love how like the characters get increasingly arranged. Like Belle looks like it's not something a normal person would wear, but it's something somebody would wear. Nobody would wear this. Nobody.
So,
David Koch death hitting especially hard because of baby bird brain derangement that makes me think every rich person I see on TV is my mom.
baby bird deranged.
Like that phrase is too useful to me. I use baby bird derangement a lot.
Baby bird derangement is so good.
Every rich person I see on TV is my mom. It's great.
And then the immediate follow-up tweet, like a minute later. Oh, it's so easy to go after David Koch now that he's dead. It's so edgy and brave to get his ass now that he can't send his assassins after you.
Fuck.
The idea of David Koch's assassins. Oh my god.
They're waiting for me to slip up and post a Family Guy joke verbatim so they can make YouTube bits of cartoon avatars doing side eyes to me.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Bill Gates' dog is too dumb to even know his owner is a celeb. That's why I should be Bill Gates' dog crawling around his mansion for treats.
Oh my god, I'm imagining him doing this like in the drill mask.
Yeah, like wearing the like big crushed Jack Nicholson.
Have you seen like
Yep.
Drill in his live streams? The fucking mask.
They're
he
so
wears?
good.
They're
They're
incredible.
so good. No man, I don't know. I love him. I love Mr. Drill.
When the legendary CBS comedy lineup comes on, I simply turn it off. Know why? I've been pissed off too much times to care. Does it shock you?
I'm shocked.
Shocking.
July 9th. Someone is still setting off fireworks in your neighborhood.
That's awesome.
Oof.
I am like the only firework enjoyer that I know. Everybody I talk to just fucking hates them, and I'm like, nah, I like things that are colorful and loud.
My
is
wife. My
unsurprising.
wife has.
Like, everybody who knows me is like, well, of course Beat likes that shit.
Yeah.
Noted.
You like things that are
explosion
loud.
and fire enjoyer.
Well, my
I
wife
also like fire,
hates
yeah.
noise of all kind, of every kind. You
Noise
know,
is good.
she adores fireworks, obsessed with fireworks. You know, if there is fireworks happening, she will make every effort to get our family out there to firework. And you know, I who grew up like shooting, I who grew up in rural Oklahoma, like shooting bootleg fireworks off on like March 11th. No ear protection, no, you know, like standing out there barefoot with a with a fucking Burns-O-Matic torch to light these things off. I'm like, no, I've done too much. I've seen too much. I've done too much. I have both ear and eye, like lifelong hearing and eye damage from how many fireworks I shot. And I'm like, no, I'm done.
I have paid my dues. I have had my fun.
Exactly. But
Get-
I know he's around here. He's just being difficult to track. There he is. There's
Yeah,
that.
I will
motherfucker.
say, I had a sort of mentor of, like, my boss at my first job when I was a teenager, and I met him in his 60s, and he always had 3 fingers on his right hand.
Ooh.
And of course, like, you're 14, you're going to ask 30 seconds into a conversation, like, how did that happen? And he always consistently told everyone that it was a fireworks accident when he was a teenager. And getting to know the guy over the course of years, he's passed away now, I genuinely wonder if that was actually what happened, or if he was just telling that to teenagers so they wouldn't blow their own
Like it's
hands
an
off.
education off them.
Basically,
Like, this is
yeah.
a-
Like,
this
he
is a
was the
teachable
exact kind of
moment.
guy to make up a story that would benefit others if he thought that was the case. And, like, in truth, he just, you know, had a tractor drive over his hand or something. I don't know.
yeah, or something even more, something even more embarrassing. You know,
He got caught in the revolving door.
yeah, I got caught in a revolving door, or like, I don't know, like he was making the shittiest cocktail ever and exploded in his hands.
I mean, if you lose fingers from a cocktail, congratulations. You have created the shittiest cocktail ever.
Alternatively, one of the coolest ones. But...
I
true.
I actually knew a guy in high school who only had like all of his fingers were nubs, basically. Like he didn't have anything past like the actual start of the fingers, right? on one
Both
hand.
hands or just one?
No, just one hand, just one hand. And anytime anyone asked about it, he would tell a different story.
Yeah,
You get
ex-
carte blanche to do
He
that.
knew exactly what this power was. Like he was the fucking Joker from The Dark Knight.
Yeah. You never asked me how I got
Nobody
these
was doing.
hands.
You want to know how I
Nobody-
got these scars?
No, there was a dude from. You guys ever heard of Survival Research Labs?
No, actually.
No, they are they are or were a performance art group that basically did what we would call nowadays like drone drone like drone battles. They would make these huge remote controlled robots, like huge, like 10, 15 feet tall, that would just smash each other in these horrific robot battles. And just one of the coolest things ever. But the guy who founded Survival Research Labs, on his, I think it's his right hand, instead of fingers, he has toes.
Oh my god.
Because when he was younger, he was mixing together, some chemicals, including red phosphorus. And the thing about red phosphorus is the friction of red phosphorus rubbing against, 1 grain of red phosphorus rubbing against another grain of red phosphorus, that will make it ignite. So if you're going to mix that shit, it has to be wet. It has to be a slurry. But every year, some fireworks asshole is thinking, I'll be the one who can do this. And you just mix it up.
I'm built different.
Rip to them,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I'm
built-
different.
Exactly. So he gets to the hospital, and it's like, can you save my fingers? Like, you don't have fingers. There was nothing. We recovered nothing. He's like, well, can you put my toes on my hand? Yes.
I mean, we can. We shouldn't, but we can.
So now he has
Your money.
he has one hand that has toes instead of fingers.
So fucked up. I'm just drawing attention back to the game here for a second. I really like that the old dude with the cyber head here just straight up says, "Oh yeah, no, I had a brain tumor, so I put my brain inside a robot."
You got a deal.
And he fully straight up admits, "Oh yeah, no, the original me died. I am a different guy." But no one lives forever. It's fine.
At least part of me passed.
Yeah, it's kind of it's an interesting take on it.
Body of Theseus.
Yeah, basically.
One more drill tweet. Guy who bothered putting on a suit for his profile pic and only has like 300 followers. Haha, you dipshit, you've wasted your life.
Yo, what's up?
All right, that's good. That's fun. I was gonna say, what is it?
Dressing up for their profile pic.
My
Nightmarish.
favorite profile pic of all time is from like 2014, and it was some freelance journalist who decided his profile pic should show like how important a guy he is, and it was like him talking into an iPhone with like a really intense expression on his face, and it was just like, wait a minute. Why would you? Who is taking a picture? Who are you that someone is taking a picture of you while talking on the phone?
Genuinely bizarre.
I was going to say, it actually would be kind of hilarious to just start up a LinkedIn profile just for the exclusive purpose of taking a picture of yourself with like an 80s phone.
I would
shit.
use. I would to match my own aesthetic. It would be an N-Gage.
Oh, 100%. That'd be perfect.
That would be great.
Hire this man.
I was going to say later on, someone, like by later on, like days after this guy was discovered, someone did an absolutely perfect parody of that profile pic by basically the same thing, except he's talking to an iPhone on each side of his head. I wonder what happened to that guy.
I
That was
assume he died of
beautiful.
Nobody was
Nice.
hired for everything.
Yeah. Anyway, I just recruited 2 new dudes. I'm playing as one right now. Let's go get the other one.
When I
And
scroll
then
too
that'll
far
be
down
the end for the
column,
night. Because I finished the 2 parts I wanted to finish, and then did some bonus stuff too. Why not?
You made progress.
Yeah. But I love this game. This is such a great chill out game. It is the lowest. It is not a high stakes game, and I love that about it. I enjoy just zoning out with it. It's perfect for that sort of thing.
To the pyramid on the $1 bill calling itself the all-seeing eye. Fuck you. The only thing you can see from my wallet is the jeans of my ass.
The jeans of my ass. How is that not as famous as Face God and Walk Backwards into Hell?
Jeans of my ass is just such a perfect phrase. Absolutely at a loss. They just what as Paul LaFoe once said to me, "You make me feel like Salieri with this shit." Oh man. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
The most solid benefit to owning your own pool is that you get to keep all the animals that drown in it.
Why is that so funny to me? Am I a bad person?
No, you're not.
The concept of someone being thrilled at the concept that their pool just had random animals drowning in it.
I have said it before, and I'll
good,
say
another
it again.
dead bird.
The joy of Drill is that he instantly creates such a universe you can understand, but never existed before the moment that he typed that out.
He willed it into being.
Like,
Absolutely.
no one has ever worried about that, but guess what? Now it's all you're thinking about.
Yep.
More and more sources are reporting an end to sex. Think of all the things that you can find in the above ground pool.
I mean, half the
Diseases,
time it
huh?
was a cat drinking out of it.
Cats, sometimes diseases normally thought eradicated in North America.
Yep.
I always so there is a cat in our neighborhood, right? There's a million cats in our neighborhood. We have so many fucking feral cats. You don't even know. It's impossible to express how many feral cats we have.
No, the feral cat cannot be managed.
No, absolutely. But we have this nice little bench in like the little porch area in front of my house, a pure bead pad. And apparently a white cat loves to just hang out there all night. I have no proof for this other than the fact that at all times, you can just go out there and it's just covered in white hair. My wife fucking hates this cat. She is like, I want you to stop this cat. And I'm like, how? It's a cat. It doesn't speak English.
I want this
Put
cat
a cardboard
dead.
box next to the bench.
Yeah.
Over the cardboard box.
Meanwhile,
Also, if
get a
you want
ring
to drive yourself
camera.
insane, get a trail cam.
I was gonna say, meanwhile, get a ring camera for the internet points.
Oh no!
Oh no.
The worst DMs are the ones from beautiful women. The best ones are some University of Dogshit grad student asking if he can pick my brain.
Now that one I believe.
No, that one absolutely. I absolutely believe Drill gets just both like sexually propositioned by the hottest woman you have ever seen, and like messages from like the most gormless, witless grad students imaginable.
Did you
Also,
So
imagine?
they can reverse engineer humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many PMs he gets that are basically along the lines of like debate me?
Oh,
Oh,
Like-
sure.
Like I don't like the
after-
thing you said about pool.
After the last 6 months, a bunch of them are debate me cowards from Zionist 266.
One of my favorite like drill related things was like some guy just posted, so we just added drill to our group chat just
Oh yeah, that one.
just because. And he never posted it because why would he? And then one day he does, and it's just like his head superimposed over a giant pair of jeans.
That's performance art. Like
Yeah.
the only joke that could ever come from that is people being just perplexed as to why on earth did he suddenly, why did he stay and why did he suddenly reply?
Yeah.
For reasons none of you could ever hope to comprehend, I will now be referring to Baby Mario as the baby from Mario.
I've never actually sat and watched like the little dance circle before. I had no idea that they just took turns like popping and locking in the middle. This rules. Anyway,
They went to town on those.
Yeah, no, they put in effort into this game. There's so many tiny details. All right, this is where I was gonna end the stream. So if anyone wants to say anything before I hit hit stop streaming. Nope.
My opinion on personal drama and world events. No, there's not enough of it. My opinion of politics and racism, there ain't enough of it.
Dazzling. Absolutely dazzling.
That's what I want to end on.
Truly phenomenal.
A perfect end to the perfect life.
Yep. All right, stream over.